Hello and welcome back to the Book Marketing Tips and Author Success Podcast. This is Penny Sansevieri.
And Amy Cornell.
And this show is another Amazon PSA. I feel like we do these a lot.
But blame Amazon.
Right, exactly. But we are seeing a lot of Amazon delays that we're going to get into in just a second. But I wanted just to mention, stick around for the end of the show because we have some exciting, we have an exciting new program that we are launching first and exclusively to our podcast listeners. And the other thing is we are filling out our YouTube channel with podcast episodes. So be sure if video is your, I mean, we're kind of figuring things out with YouTube and video and whatnot, but you can also listen there. And for the end of the year, we're really excited about this. We brainstormed this yesterday. We are actually going to do a podcast. We're going to do a fun Q&A podcast. So we're getting questions from listeners. And if you have a question, you can email it to us and we'll include it in our list. But we're actually going to do it on video. So we're going to be on camera. So that's going to be kind of fun. And we'll put that up on YouTube too. So if you're curious about what we look like, I know I'm out and about a lot. So if you've been to any of my events, you definitely know what I look like, but we're very curious. And then we're also going to do one with our production team, which is our dogs. So that was Amy's idea. She's like, people love dogs. I'm like, yes, we have to. And especially because, I mean, Cosmo's very photogenic, but Amy's got some really photogenic dogs. So that'll be really fun. So we're going to do that towards the end of the year. It'll be some really good information and you'll get to meet us. So that'll be really great. So Amazon delays, we noticed this with a client, I want to say maybe about 2 weeks ago. Somebody kind of mentioned to you just in passing that or they emailed us, actually. They weren't even a client. They emailed us. That's right. Mm-hmm. And they said they've been waiting for a month for their book to go live on Amazon?
Yeah, it's been a very long time. I think Amazon overall. So obviously the book going live is a big problem, but, we've seen it also with Author Central. Our clients, for those of you listening, Author Central gives you access to your Amazon ad dashboard, even if you have a publisher or used a publishing service. It's a really great workaround. And we utilize that function a lot when we work with clients. But so it's pretty critical, in addition to the fact that we've done shows on Author Central and how great it is and why you need to have one. But there are clients that have been waiting multiple weeks to just get approved for their Author Central account, which is just mind-numbing to me, but kind of fits in with our recent episode on the Goodreads delays.
Yeah.
They're all the same entity, and I think it's all a lot of the same problem. For whatever reason, their vetting system is just at a standstill, and I don't know why.
Yeah, it's a little weird, and I think part of the reason why it was absolutely worth mentioning this and bringing this up is because, I mean, look, I plan my time around Amazon's timing and getting, knowing that historically, if I load my book onto Amazon on Friday, it's probably going to be live on Monday or Tuesday at the latest. So it's if Amazon is delaying this by a month or longer, this is really a problem. And I got to tell you, I mean, I feel like Amazon is one, customer order away from completely falling apart sometimes, because I forwarded this to you. I got a notification of like a week ago about books that I bought. So my own books that I bought in March. And Amazon sent me a shipment notice. Like, okay, your books have shipped. I'm like, dude, literally, I got these books in March. I mean, so I don't know what's going on with Amazon right now, but this is now trickling down to authors being able to, get their books live. So part of this is that, it's really annoying because we tell authors, look, don't do really long pre-orders. So you're listening to this and you're thinking, well, if in fact Amazon's going to take months and months and months for my book to go live, or even if it's just delayed by 2 or 3 weeks, if you have stuff planned, I mean, that could be
Mhm.
catastrophic, right? um what am I going to do? And I would say, just make sure that you have a really strong plan B. We have a client right now, and they're super excited about their book, and I get it, because I get super excited about my book. But I keep saying, don't you need to we need to wait until this book goes live on Amazon. Because if you do things like, let's say, for example, under normal circumstances, you expect the book to go live in a week, because at the most, 5 days is the longest that Amazon has ever taken. And you have all of this stuff lined up. So you have ads, or, heaven forbid, you actually have a BookBub featured deal that you
Mhm.
paid thousands of dollars for, and you have no book on Amazon. I mean, you could really get blacklisted from some of these places. So I don't know how long this is going to last, and we'll certainly do an updated episode on, if this gets fixed at some point, and maybe Amazon just going through changes or whatever.
Mhm.
I also feel like, not to be like weird conspiracy theory, but I also feel sometimes like Amazon just, like, authors, even though Amazon built their empire on books, authors are often their last consideration.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So
Right. And I do think they obviously they have a finite number of resources for their publishing arm too, it seems like, because we went through this. I mean, sometimes I feel like I have zero sense of time anymore. So I want to say like 6 months ago or so, but where we had an influx of clients who were having a hard time getting their Author Central accounts approved and things like that. And thinking back on it now, Amazon was making a lot of like just structural site changes to their book pages and things like that. You know, how their search was showing up. If anybody's looked for a book on Amazon recently, they've changed a lot of how they show books when you're looking for specific genres and things like that. They've really done a lot different on how they're presenting books to buyers, to shoppers. And it makes me wonder if, they just pause everything whenever they're doing a site update or change up to the structure or something like that. They're like, well, we have to stop taking emails from authors right now because we want to change how the site looks again. It's like, wow, are there like two of them in a back room that they're keeping chained to their desks,
yeah, yeah, it's really, and I think that if you're getting ready to launch your book, if you're hoping to have a November launch on your book, and you're listening to this and you're just, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I would also suggest, obviously, you want to have strong plan B, but be a squeaky wheel.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure that you are, get in touch with Amazon. Um, your book is, if your book doesn't get approved in 48 hours, which I think they usually say between 48 and 72 hours, I would start being the squeaky wheel. I would be prepared to be the squeaky wheel, because at the end of the day, and this is something that I have discovered multiple times with Amazon, they don't want to be getting multiple emails from authors. So don't just sit back and say, okay, well, Amy and Penny told me to have a strong plan B, and I have that. I want be the loud voice, that, because like we said, we just don't know what's going on with Amazon right now. So it's just, so it's good to be prepared, and hopefully this won't last. This won't last very long, because Amy, how long have the Author Central? Because the Author Central issues that have actually been going on longer than these Amazon the KDP delays, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's come up more frequently with clients that have signed on with us in the last month or so.
Okay. Yeah.
So, I mean, and it's kind of one of those things too. It's like at some point, not everybody knows how long is long. They do the thing, they sign up, they start working on other things. Like there's a lot, we do to get prepped for a campaign to launch or a book to release. And then it's kind of one of those things that we go, wait a minute, we're still waiting on that. How long ago did you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we start doing the backwards math, trying to figure out like, wait, we've been waiting on that for quite a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that the Author Central, I think the Author Central delays started way ahead of the KDP delays.
Mhm.
And I mean, look, this is all part of what we talked about with in the Goodreads show. All this new AI content, books
Mhm.
being published every, a book published every 8 seconds. I mean, I understand that it's a system of, the system is probably overwhelmed, but they need to figure this out because these kind of delays are unacceptable. So forewarned is forearmed, as they say. Just be aware of it. Um, and wanted to mention that we have launched a really awesome mentoring program, and we've talked about it in a couple of other shows earlier, depending on whether or not you're listening to these in order. I know some of you listen to these out of order. Um, it's an author mentorship program, and we are launching this first. We're offering this first to our podcast listeners because we get a lot of questions from you, and we really appreciate that, by the way. I would get a lot of feedback, a lot of questions, but we get a lot of questions from authors who are, maybe 6 months out or 2 months out, or maybe they're in the middle of, getting their book out and they feel like there's something wrong, that they've done something wrong. So this was really kind of born out of both your ideas, your questions, and some of these shows that we've done in the last 4 years that we've been doing this podcast. Amy, do you want to talk about it a little bit more? Because I know we're both really excited about this mentorship program.
Yeah, I would say just more than anything, to your point, Penny, we really designed it around crossing T's and dotting I's because there are so many. I mean, there's a reason we've had, like you said, 4 years of shows to do, right?
Yeah.
Like there are so many things to consider, so many elements of your brand, of getting your book prepped. I mean, everything from production to planning out the first year, I mean, it all matters. And the fewer variables that you can take out of the equation that may not go your way just based on the fact that you may just not know any better, So we really wanted to address and kind of map out, here are all the key points along the way, no matter where you are in the process, whether, like you said, Penny, you're 6 months out, 2 months out, your book just released, or it's been out for a few months. We really wanted to help you create a checklist so you could feel really good about where you are and that you're not missing a really critical step or an element that could potentially negatively affect your success. So this is kind of one of those insurance policy sort of programs. I like to think of it as.
Well, and I also think that, and we address this on the show in a variety of different ways. Things change all the time. And
Mhm.
it is in fact, I talked to an author yesterday who's going to work with us, and he is just, I'm really, really excited. We get excited about all our books. And then just talking to him about this book, I'm so looking forward to it for the new year. But one of the things that he and I talked about yesterday was, oh my gosh, there's so much confusing information out there in this like what to do, what not to do, and some of it is based on antiquated ways of doing things, and we've talked about that on prior shows too. So that's another reason why we really wanted to do the author mentorship program. So we're very excited about that. We love reviews. We had somebody just this morning email us a review. Yeah, it was super fair. He asked us a quick question and then gave us a review, and I'm a huge fan of that. So we're going to add that review to the website. We love that. But we love reviews wherever you listen to podcasts, or feel free to email us your review, your show ideas, and we will see you next time, and be looking forward to the end of the year shows where we are going to go on camera. That's not an easy thing to do. Amy and I, we were talking about this yesterday. We were like, if we had to be on camera for every podcast, we would literally never record the podcast because like some people just really don't care. Like, not that we're vain, but I'm kind of like, you know,
Oh, yeah. No.
when you get a little bit older, you're just like, oh my gosh, like I have to make sure that, everything is, that I don't look.
It's hard to focus when you're on video.
It's
Honestly,
really, yeah.
vain or not, it's so much more distracting and stimulating to have, like, not only seeing yourself in every move you're making, but then you've got somebody else. It's like, so people that do video all the time, major props to you,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, I know it. It really is tough. In fact, a lot of times when I do video, like when I teach classes on Zoom, and I taught one last weekend, I never look at myself and I never look at the attendees. Well, while I'm teaching, I mean, I do look at them like during Q&A because it's nice to kind of see if you can see people on camera and whatnot. But I find it hugely distracting to the session when I'm watching, you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
somebody's turning their monitor, or somebody's turning their fan, or somebody's cat climbs across their desk. You know what I mean? It's all very just
They start eating a snack and you've been hungry for 30 minutes. It's like, oh, damn it.
right. I know it. So anyway, so we're gonna put all of that aside, and we're gonna do a fun Q&As. It's kind of like an Ask Us Anything within limits, of course.
Yeah.
If you have a question, send it on. We will include it in the podcast, as long as it's something that we can answer. Obviously, that's kind of the caveat. And we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.